Good evening and welcome to Island View. Tonight's program is a rebroadcast of our Election Secession Special Edition, originally aired on Friday, October 29th. Due to overwhelming requests by both phone and mail, we've decided to run it again. Whether or not you've seen tonight's show, it's interesting to reflect now knowing the outcome in each situation. Next week, we'll be discussing secession, where do we go from here, speaking with election winners, and spotlighting Islander and Bronx Tale actor Clem Caserta. Enjoy the show.
Coming up tonight, Staten Island prepares to vote on seceding from New York City.
If this doesn't come through, we'll be doing the same thing all over.
Local elections for district city council members, as well as the big mayoral race.
And really the responsibility for that is lack of leadership by the mayor of the city of New York.
And also, a look inside the management of the Tri-Borough Bridge and Tunnel Authority.
Again, it's another smack in the face of the motorists who use our facilities every day.
Stay tuned.
Good evening. My name is Gary Humienny, and welcome to Island View. November 2nd, Election Day, will go down as the most important day in Staten Island's history. You as Staten Islanders will be given the opportunity to vote to either stay with the city or to separate away from it. Back in 1990, Staten Islanders passed a referendum through to create a commission to draft a charter in which, if passed, would govern the new rules and regulations for the future of Staten Island as a city.
Many people who have been involved with the issue, the Chamber of Commerce has been involved with the issue for some time. They had all their professionals study whether or not we could secede, whether or not we could afford to secede. People who will stand to be taxed more heavily under a small city have overwhelmingly endorsed the idea of Staten Island secession.
If the state of New York passes legislation and they set up a methodology by which we may address this issue, and they provide for a sequence of events and the development of a charter, and we in Staten Island, funded by the people of the state of New York, because their money is in it, you know, we're all sworn to uphold the law, we in good faith deliver a good product. It would be an act of moral arrogance to dismiss it airily and say, well, I've changed my mind. I don't think that's possible.
The charter that was written by the Charter Commission, frankly, stinks. It was written to mimic New York City and make us a mini New York City with a mayor and a city council. It was streamlined so that you'd have a land use process that got rid of community input. They got rid of the community boards. Crane's New York Business, in an article in August, characterized it as seductively pro-business, turning over land development into the hands of the developers and getting rid of the meddlesome community boards.
For him to suggest that we lose the strength of the community boards, the community boards only have the authority that's been given to them. They're not elected, and they don't give them they can't pass any laws. All they can do, and they've done it well, I think, is to surface an issue and say, well, this issue, and then maybe make a recommendation. But that's all I can do. And that's all Staten Islanders can do is make recommendations, you know. We don't have any powers of disposition. The city of New York has it because the numbers are there. We don't have it because the numbers aren't.
The opposition never has offered Staten Island, as long as I've been involved, and it goes back years and years and years, compromise. I always thought government was compromise. And when we come through and we say Staten Islanders are having trouble with service delivery and all these other complaints that we have, I always thought that government would come by and say, okay, how can we help you? How can we establish a better service delivery? Not once Has that been established for the people of Staten Island? And what we finally did is when Staten Islanders said we're going to secede, what happened then? Not compromise, but a campaign of fear politics that has been started about 3 years ago, in which the people have singled out our minorities, our people on fixed incomes, and the people that work for the city. They tell the minorities that it's going to be disastrous out here if you're a minority, an ethnic minority, or a language minority. They tell the people on fixed incomes that your taxes are going to go through the roof, because we're not going to have enough money to pay for it, and they tell the people who are city employees that you're going to lose your job. It's the campaign of fear politics.
A lot of Staten Islanders work for the city of New York. There's no question that by proportion, Staten Island in percentages provides one of the greatest percentages of city workers of any borough or any county anywhere. And we have people who have, through the years, attained a great deal of seniority with the city of New York. People work for the police and the fire department and as teachers for years in order to get promoted to get a job on Staten Island. They are at the top of the pay scale. If people think that Staten Island, when it negotiates its contracts, are going to be able to pay our teachers and our firemen, our policemen, anything near what New York City can pay, they're wrong.
The Staten Island Charter Commission that looked at all these issues found and put provisions in the new charter for the city of Staten Island that will protect city employees' jobs. They put provisions in the charter that would allow representation of people on fixed incomes, 15 city council people, so that there's no way in the world that those local people are going to raise astronomically the taxes on their own constituents. And minorities also, with 15 members of the new city council of Staten Island, they're going to be well protected and well serviced in the new city of Staten Island.
A little later in the program, part 2 of Secession. Is it the right move and why? We asked the people that are battling on that issue. Also, Borough President Guy Molinari's interesting findings. Coming up next, the election.
Good evening. A voter poll conducted by the New York Post and Fox 5 TV showed mayoral contender Rudolph Giuliani 6% behind incumbent Mayor Dinkins. As Election Day grows closer, additional polls indicate a 50-50 split, or thereabouts. Our very own Island View news team hit the streets of Staten Island last week asking, who are you voting for and why?
Okay, I have this big choice, right? Well, I'm really not sure, to tell you the truth. I'm really not sure.
Voting for what's his name? Not Dinkins, the other guy, Giuliani.
Why?
I think I would give him a chance.
Giuliani.
And why?
Because I think Dinkins did enough already.
Dinkins, he's a good candidate because I feel they didn't give enough time for him to do something for the city and the state.
Giuliani.
And why?
I think he's the best man for the job right now. I don't think Dinkins has done much for the city that he promised to do, and I think we need a fresh start. I don't know how much better he'll be, but I think we need the fresh start.
For mayor, I'm voting for the Republican.
The Republican?
What's his name? GU something?
I would vote for Dinkins.
And why?
Because I happen to like him. I think he's a very nice man. He's a family man, and I think he'll make our city a better place to live in.
Giuliani.
And why?
Because I can't stand Dinkins, that's why.
Giuliani.
And why?
Because I think he'll make the city a lot better than what Dinkins is doing now. I think he'll do a lot better job.
I agree. Same thing. Rudy Giuliani.
And why?
I like his way he talks. I like the things he's saying, and I think he's for Staten Island, where I don't think Mayor Dinkins is.
And now a look at the local elections for district city council members. For the 49th district, there's Democrat-conservative Jerome O'Donovan seeking re-election, going up against Republican Lee Covino and right-to-life candidate Jerry Chase. The 50th district has their choice of Democrat Anastasia Vasilakis, Republican-conservative John Fusco, and Chinarina Savarimathu for the right-to-life party. Democrat Rosemarie Mangano, Republican-conservative Alfred Cirillo, and right-to-life's Janet Marana are the candidates for the 51st district. We caught up with a couple of city council candidates on the campaign trail.
I am in support of Mayor Dinkins. I have endorsed him because I am a loyal Democrat. But the fact that I endorse Mayor Dinkins does not mean that I agree with every position he has taken in this administration. For example, I do not agree with his stance on the one-way toll. As we all know, the City Council is comprised mostly of Democrats. We are in the majority. There are only 6 Republicans on the City Council. So if Rudy Giuliani were to win as mayor, he would have to work with the Democrats in the City Council, and I would be willing to work with him or with Mayor Dinkins, whoever wins this election.
My name is Rosemarie Mangano. I'm running for the City Council seat on the South Shore of Staten Island, and my main interest in this borough, targeting on the South Shore, is the environment. Being a mother and a parent and a working woman, I find that it's very important to target in on specific issues pertaining to the environment. If we can't drink the water and breathe the clean air, then our children will suffer, and so will we.
We wish all candidates luck in the upcoming election. A bit later in the program, we'll continue with some election comments from Rudy Giuliani, Borough President Guy Molinari, and former Mayor Ed Koch. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and now Secession Part 2 with Gary Humienny.
I am in favor of secession. I feel the City of New York has always treated Staten Island unfairly, and I do not see the situation improving. Last night I attended a commission hearing on property tax reform, and if this commission does what we all expect it to do, our property taxes are going to go sky high here in Staten Island if we stay part of New York City.
What you're voting on is a leap of faith for secession. You don't know what you're going to get. You're not going to know what you're going to get until this legislation goes to Albany, and then in Albany we will face a powerful assembly of New York City politicians in a divorce situation.
Every day it's a fight. Every day it's a struggle. And every day we're battling people. And it's not our policies, it's the central bureaucracy, the mayor's policies. Don't care what mayor it is, whether it's Republican, whether it's a Democrat, it doesn't matter. If this doesn't come through, we'll be doing the same thing all over.
The way I see secession, it's a wake-up call to New York City. It's basically saying to New York City, if you don't deal with the problems of Staten Island equitably and fairly, you're going to have the same problem in Queens very shortly thereafter.
64% of the people statewide use cars to go to work. The island percentage is also 64%. In the other boroughs, it is 31%. Staten Island is the second wealthiest borough in New York City. Staten Island has only 10% below poverty line. For those who are worried about tax increases and hesitant about voting for secession, they most assuredly will face large tax increases if they do not secede. But when I consider the mistreatment that has accelerated in recent years and look at the dark future of New York City, I come to one inescapable conclusion: secession is a risk worth taking.
To secede or not to secede? That is the question on everyone's mind. Whether it's good or bad, it will be you who will decide the fate of Staten Island. So this November 2nd, go out and vote.
Thanks a lot, Gary, for that very informative look at the secession vote. And now, our field reporter, Tony Petrozza, goes in depth on the Triborough Bridge and Tunnel Authority.
Welcome to the Triborough Bridge and Tunnel Authority, the country's largest bridge and tunnel operator. Since its inception in 1933 under state legislature and under the masterful leadership of Robert Moses, it has grown immensely. Over 750,000 vehicles and 1 million people use its facilities each and every day.
They include the Brooklyn Battery and Queens Midtown Tunnel, Triborough, Henry Hudson, Throgs Neck, Bronx Whitestone, Cross Bay Veterans Memorial, Marine Parkway Gil Hodges Memorial, and our own favorite, the Verrazano Bridge.
Every one of these facilities collect a toll for passage. That's $700 million total revenue for 1993. These structures are as indispensable to New York as the roadways that connect them. Traffic runs pretty smoothly, except for some closed toll lanes. But let's take a closer look at this super agency.
Since that latest toll increase in 1993, management has added some more people to their staff. Instead of 462, we're now over 500 administrative, clerical, and managers. It seems that every time there's a toll increase, the Tri-Borough Bridge and Tunnel Authority assumes they need more managers to control the money that they've taken in.
We've really seen a tremendous change in attitude, I think, from the days of those of us who remember George Schopfer, who was head of the Tri-Borough Bridge and Tunnel Authority, who would meet regularly with elected officials, who was extremely in close touch with the people of Staten Island relative to so many of the concerns that we had.
6 managers now working out of the Verrazano Bridge itself. There are even more managers. So each bridge has that kind of an increase, that there are extra managers at each of the 2 tunnels, and that there are an increase of about 2 times the number of managers, based at 10 Columbus Circle and Randall's Island.
These authorities have become uncontrollable. They have administrative costs that nobody else has. They get away with they get away with making a profit that you would never allow even other public authorities or utilities to get away with.
So the administration has a very callous attitude towards public safety, as well as employee safety, and they have a very callous attitude to public service in general.
An informant from within the TBTA alleges how the management justifies spending more money on outside contracts instead of less money on TBTA worker overtime in order to look better and get themselves larger raises.
The MTA was always into Tri-Borough because we subsidized the MTA. But since Dinkins came in, forget it. We got allotted overtime. This is how the publics get their raise. Well, I run the BC Bridge, one of the biggest bridges in the world, and I only laid out $600 this year in overtime. When the motherfucker's got a budget for maybe $50,000 that he could feed everybody, he says, no, I don't need overtime. My men do it all on straight time. So when this raise comes, he gets his 5 to 6%. He's saving them a lot of money, this jerk.
Whether you're talking about the Tri-Borough Bridge and Tunnel Authority or any other public authority, there's a lack of accountability, and I think we really need to consider doing away with some of them. Let the mayor or let the governor run those agencies, and then if they're not run properly and the people are upset, they have a way of showing their outrage by removing that mayor, removing that governor. Accountability. Bring the accountability back.
We are accountable all the time. So it doesn't wash with what's really out there. I think sometimes there's a level of frustration, particularly on the subject of tolls or something like that.
Some pretty serious allegations, and they get worse. Mr. Pascual will have more time for rebuttal on our next show, when we go even deeper into the Tri-Borough Bridge and Tunnel Authority. I'm Tony Petrozza, reporting for Island View.
Welcome back to Island View. As we continue now with our election piece, you're bound to ask, where's Mayor Dinkins? And rightfully so. Repeated requests for an interview were continually denied, rebuffed. But we're not the only ones. Over 500 Democrats were gathered for a fundraiser last week on Staten Island, and he stood them up. Where's Mayor Dinkins? From the looks of it, losing what little support he had on Staten Island.
I'm a candidate of the Republican Party, I'm a candidate of the Liberal Party, and I'm a candidate of the Independent Fusion Party. Those are the 3 political parties that agreed to endorse me virtually unanimously.
With Mayor Dinkins unavailable for comment, we asked Ed Koch his comments of the PBA's anti-Dinkins ads.
It's called First Amendment rights, and they have a right to be critical of the mayor. I'm very proud of the fact that they always endorsed me, and I know it must pain the mayor to see their ads, but I've never seen anything in their ads that wasn't true. Now, maybe it escaped me, but I think that every statement they make is factual.
It's a tragedy what this mayor has done to the morale of the New York City Police Department. This is New York City Police Department is the greatest law enforcement organization in the United States. Of course it has problems. I mean, it doesn't have nearly as many problems as the Dinkins administration, but of course it has problems. Every human institution has problems. For the mayor to allow and to be part of this effort to blame the police for almost everything, to scapegoat the police for almost everything, and to be unwilling to deal with any of the agenda that the police have, even to give them something, has created the most demoralized situation in the New York City Police Department under any mayor. And really the responsibility for that is lack of leadership by the mayor of the city of New York.
I had a lot of fights with Ed Koch. Ed Koch fought me on the one-way toll. He was mayor when I passed. I didn't tell him I was going to do it. But we would fight tooth and nail. But the mayor would never be considered an enemy of Staten Island. He was a friend sometimes, sometimes maybe not. But in the case of David Dinkins, he always is against Staten Island. So it's understandable why the people don't like him as a mayor.
The 10% override program of the Dinkins administration that went into effect a year ago, August. And it's a program whereby so-called minority-owned companies, or companies that are owned, the stock of which is owned 51% by a person in the designated class of minority, gets to charge the city of New York 10% more than other companies. So that if two companies submit a bid, the company, the minority-owned 51% company, will get the contract, even if it's charging the city 10% more than the other company.
It's just wrong. Now, you have to understand that Mayor Dinkins is a very honest man, because he has no hesitation in saying that he is for racial quotas. I think racial quotas are an anathema to this country and to this city, and are illegal. But until they are challenged by some business, the mayor will continue to dole out these contracts on a racial, ethnic, or gender basis. And the most endangered species now in America is the white male.
We've really gotten involved in Staten Island, and it's really a wonderful community, a terrific place, and I want to very much see it work out an arrangement with New York City so that the people of Staten Island have the opportunity to deal with their own local government, get the concerns that are of interest to them taken care of, but at the same time remain connected to the city of New York for all the benefits that that can bring. That'll be what I attempt to do in January, hopefully after I get elected. And I think the good relationship I have with all of the elected officials in Staten Island, Republican and Democratic, will allow me to accomplish something that this present administration can accomplish, so that the people of Staten Island, in essence, get what they deserve, which is strong, decent local government, and then a sensible relationship with a strong central government that can really help them. Thank you.
Whatever your position, please get to the voting booth this November 2nd. We'll be right back. Island View is brought to you in part by the new Shoreacres. You're invited to the big Thanksgiving Eve bash. Dollar shots, prizes, and fun for all. On Bay Street and Fingerboard Road, the new Shoreacres. It's the place to be. Family Health Foods, a complete line of natural supplements and health foods. Family Health Foods, located at 177 Newdorf Lane, 351-7704. All Borough movers, fully licensed and insured household and commercial movers. Move with confidence. For a free estimate on your next move, call 727-1807. Join Staten Island's finest businesses by advertising on this program. To advertise on Island View, call Vision Quest Productions Incorporated at 727-3777. That's Vision Quest at 727-3777.
Well, that concludes this edition of Island View. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'd also like to thank all of you who took the time to write us, and would like to remind you to include your phone number so we can get back to you immediately. After the credits is our P.O. Box number and our phone number, so you can get in touch with us if you have a question, a comment, or a beef. Please write these down. We really do want to hear from you. Well, from the Island View News team, good night. See you next week.